Hi again, it's your girl Amina Farota. If you are new to my YouTube channel, please click on the subscription button and do not forget to click on the notification bell as well. And if you are a returning subscriber, you're welcome again. So, today's story is more like the Cinderella story, or just in this case, there's no Prince Charming. So, today we are going to be talking about the Moss family. So three important persons in this story is Tiffany Moss, Eman Moss, and Emani Moss. So Emani Moss was born to Eman Moss, so she was named after her dad. She was born on the 23rd of April 2003. So Emani Moss was a very beautiful young girl. So in 2004, Emani witnessed her dad beating up her mom in her presence. So her dad was charged for child cruelty. So after some time, her mom was into substance abuse, and because of this, she signed off custody of her children. She just surrendered the custody rights. She had five kids actually, which Emani was one of them. So she surrendered the custody of her kids. So one of the kids was Emani, and Emani Moss, she gave up the custody to the dad, and after that, she just went out of her life. So she never had any contact from her mom from 2004 onwards. So for the most part of this story, Emani Moss lived with her dad, Eman Moss. So she was living with her dad, that it was a single dad, and then she had a grandmother, Robin. So this story took place in Georgia, in the United States. So she lived with her dad. Her dad was working two jobs. So he would leave for work very early in the morning, and then he would return late in the afternoon, and then sometime around 6 p.m. he would just return briefly home and then get ready for the next shift, and he will not return until 11 p.m. at night. So this was how he lived until 2007. They attended one church, one Freedom Christian church in America. So she was living with her dad until in 2007 her dad was introduced to this lady, Tiffany Moss. And Tiffany Moss then, she was still a college student. So she, like her and her dad with Tiffany Moss and some other church members. So after church services in the evening, so they often go out for church. They will just have this group dinner together until in 2008, according to Eman Moss. So he said on this day, Tiffany just called him and she was like, apart from the church lunch and dinner day, she wants to date him, she wants to have a relationship with him. And then he said, okay, it's fine. He put this into consideration. He discovered that the daughter, Imani in this case now, warmed up to Tiffany. She liked Tiffany as well. So in 2009, they got married. So after getting married, 2010, she found out she was pregnant. So they started living together, and then they had their first child, Tristan. So around this time, Tiffany just changed all of a sudden. Immediately she got married to a man instead. She just switched. She became wicked. She became cruel to this child. So in 2000, sometime in 2010, she went to school. So when she got to school, she told her teachers that she was scared. She told the school nurse that she was scared of going home with a bad report card, that she would get beaten by her mom. So the school nurse, when she cross-examined her, she found wet on her body, different scars, bruises on her chest, her hands, her back, and this was from the iron belt, like the iron head side of the belt. And then she said she also whipped her with a cotton rod. She said the reason was that she didn't do her assignment. So the dad was at the office then, so he got a call to come to the police headquarters, and then he went there. When he got there, he was told that the mom had been accused of the stepmom, rather Tiffany, had been accused of beating up the child. At this time, Tiffany was a preschool teacher, so she was working in preschool. So because of this, she lost her job as a preschool teacher, and she was put on the 5 years probation. So this 5 year probation, probably, and around this time, they withdrew the custody of the child, Imani. They gave it to the grandmom. So Imani was living with the grandmom at this time. So she spent 6 months with the grandma. And the couple, they were asked to go for parenting classes and other anger management courses. And then Tiffany's resentment towards this child only grew. So while she was with her grandmom, it was suspected that she was a very bright young girl. She was beautiful. She had very long hair. She was doing well in classes. She improved. Until 6 months later, the dad fought back the custody of the child, and then she took it. But the grandmom, who happens to be a man's mom, begged to take the custody of this child, but a man said no. When the man was a man, sorry, when the man was asked about this later, he said he just wanted her to be with him, not for anything, but because of his pride, because of his ego. So the custody of this child was returned to the dad. He was with the dad after 6 months. So most time now, this child is like the abused is living with the abuser. The dad is always at work. And at this time, she had a second child too. So this time they had two kids. She had two kids with the Imani's child, plus Imani making them three. So he was working double shift at this time. So their finances were kind of strained. So along the line, they moved in with family. That's the Tiffany's mom. They moved in with her. After some time, like they were able to like up their finance, and then they moved out again. They moved out and got their own apartment. So one time they visited her auntie, Imani's auntie in this case, who is a sister to Iman, and then she said she noticed that Imani, who used to have very long, beautiful hair, her hair had been cut. So she asked why, and then the stepmom Tiffany said she cut off her hair. That when you act ugly, that you have to look it, you have to look ugly. So she just she was looking for means to just make this child, like to just like degrade this child. So she cut off her hair, which she like this baby treasured so much. And apart from that, she was starving. She started starving this girl. This girl was looking thin. The dad said yes, that he noticed that she was looking thin and thin. She kept looking thinner. But he said on the weekends, because he was only available on weekends, so on weekends he will spend time with the kids. So while he will spend time with the kid, Tiffany will just go out with friends. She'll go out partying, enjoy her time, and then she comes back later. But he understood it because she just like wanted to be away, because for the most part of the week while he's at work, she will just be taking care of the kids. So the dad said he noticed that around this time when he's off work over the weekend, that she will eat more. She will just be gobbling food into her mouth. She will eat so much. But then she was still looking thinner. He said he thought the reason she was eating so much was because it was because of the growth spots. She was between the age of 9 and 10 around this time. So this was in 2011. So he said this was why this was what he thought about her feeding habit. So that was how the situation went on and on and on and on until again she in 2011 she ran away from home. So there was a time that was at the office, and then she closed from school. So she said she told the school, but she didn't want to go home. She cried so much. She said she didn't want to go home, that her stepmom is mean to her. She said she kept on beating her and all of that. But then they called in the Georgia Department for Family and Children Services. This department, instead of looking into the issue, they decided to file a case against her because she was running away. They said they want to take her to a juvenile court or something. So they didn't really come to the home to visit. They did nothing. The case was just closed. They just saw her as a rebellious little girl. There was another time again, she ran out of the house. She went to the neighbor. She said she doesn't want to live in the house. One other time again, they went in search of her, and then they saw her lying in the bush. She said she was scared to go home, that her mom was mean to her. She even told her school teacher about one time that the mom just took her, she tied her to a chair, and then she put her under the shower. She only water on her chair. She was just there. The mom left her there until she was freezing cold. So she said she kept her there for bad behavior. But because of, they said there were no evidence of maltreatment or anything, because there was no evidence. They just ruled out the case as one of those just those childhood rebellious attitude. So until sometime in 2012, so in 2012 on October 24th to be precise, a man, the dad, he was at work at his first shift. He got a call from the dad. He got a call from the stepmom rather, that something is wrong with a man. He said, okay. But this man, he waited until his shift was over. And then when the shift was over, he went home. When he went home, he saw her. She was having seizures. She was inside the bathtub. She was having seizures. She couldn't come out. She couldn't even step out. She couldn't do anything for herself. So the dad, he said he picked her up, he put her on top of the bed, and then he just covered her with a blanket. So he said he wanted to take her to the hospital, but his, Tiffany, the stepmom, said, no, 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 no. You want to? Why would you take her there? No, that she will be arrested, and the kids will be her own kids will be taken away from her. That he shouldn't take her to the hospital. So a man decided to just let it be, decided to leave her there, and then he went to his second shift. So he went to the second shift and he came back at night. The next day, she couldn't even leave the bed to pee, so she kept urinating on the bed. She was defecating on the bed as well. So she was the next day, he went back to his first shift again. He came back home briefly. He went for the second job. The third day again, he went until October 28th. He said he said on the 24th when she was having seizure, according to him, he said she was beyond repair. So he just chose to ignore her. Nobody took her to the hospital until October 28th that he got a call while at the office again from Tiffany, the stepmom. So she called him and she told him that Imani, his first daughter, is dead. So he again decided to finish his shift at work before coming home. And then when he got home, he saw her, but he said the whole house just looked normal. Like the younger siblings, the two other ones, they were playing around, they were playing in the house. And then Tiffany, she was watching the television. He went into her room, he saw her, he said he grieved a bit. And then he just covered her in a blanket. Then he said at that time she was cold already. He moved her corpse into the computer room. He came out. So he said he went to call the cops. His wife said, no, 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 no. If you want me to be arrested, we'll get in trouble. Do not call the cops. He left her body there. And then he went for his second shift. After the second shift, he came home. The next day, he went for the job. So they just left the cop there for like 2 days. 2 days after they moved her from the computer room, he took her back to her bed again. So she was there for another 2 or 3 days rather. So after those days, they decided on the way to like, she just kept her there because he wanted weekend so that he would have time to do something with the body. So during the weekend, he said he was seen at Walmart. He went to the Walmart. He bought a trash can, a galvanized trash can. He bought it. He bought liquid. He bought body bags. He bought bags, and then he took them home. When he went home on the weekend, he took her corpse. He was trying to put the corpse in the bag, but because of rigor mortis, is what happened when house after a person died. That's like stiffness of a dead body. So because she was already stiff at this point, he couldn't really put her in the bag and then put her in the trash can. So he decided to tie her corpse with a duct tape. So he decided to bind the corpse with duct tape, and then he put her inside the can, put her behind the vehicle, like the boot of his vehicle, and then they loaded their two kids inside the vehicle. They drove off to this secluded area in Georgia. And then when they got there, he said he poured the liquid over her body, set the can on fire, as him he wanted to like burn her and then tell the cops, because he actually reported her as a missing child, but he wanted to report her missing. So he said he set the body on fire. So after burning for several hours, he noticed that this body was not burning. What he did not know was that people that do cremation, like when you want to cremate a body, like the temperature will have to be over 1,400 degrees Celsius. So he wasn't able to generate this much heat to disintegrate the body, or to cremate the body rather. So this was why the body was not burning, but rather it just looked dark, and it's still like not much. He was not able to do much to this body. So he said when he discovered that this body was not burning, they decided to like put out the fire. They put out the fire. They waited for this can to like get cool, and then he was sitting there for hours. After it got cool, they loaded the can into his vehicle again, and then he drove home. So when they got home, they were inside the apartment. He was there. The next day, he drove the vehicle to the office. His daughter is still behind the vehicle. So when he got to work, he was at work. He decided to call his friend. He called the friend. He told the friend, this is what is happening. The body is in his vehicle. What do I do? And the friend was like, call the cops, you idiot. So he went home and then told his wife that he wants to inform the cops, and the cops, she just flipped out. Started yelling, do you want them to get me? Want this? Then she just picked the kids and then she ran out of the house. She dropped the kids at her mom's place. So he decided to call the cops, And then when he called them, he told them that he was feeling suicidal, there's no reason to live anymore. So they weren't really getting a message. So they decided to come over to his place. And then when they got to his place, he told them that his daughter rather died. There was a way he just told the story, and then he told them that. So when they were like, "Mister, what are you talking about?" He just pointed to the vehicle. It was like his daughter's body is inside the trash can in the vehicle. So while he was speaking to one of the officer, the other officer decided to go see for himself what was inside the trash can. And then immediately he opened the cups. The officer said the only thing he could see was put him into custody, put him into custody. So decided to arrest him. So the first suspect in this case now is a man Moss, and then Tiffany Moss. So when he didn't hold back when he was arrested, like he told them everything that happened. So when he told them, the Tiffany, this kid decided to like, she came to the station herself and then she submitted herself. So during the trial, they said while he was being tried, they asked him why he refused to grant the custody of this child to his own mom. He said it was just because of his pride. They asked if he knew that this child was being starved. He said she ate on weekends, so he believed that she was eating. Like, why didn't you believe your child? Why didn't you like take like just give her the benefit of that? He said he believed his wife more. And then he asked how often his wife called him while he was off. He said very often. And what were the calls about? He said she was most of the time she was complaining about Imani running away from the house, Imani doing this, Imani that, Imani this, Imani that. And then so during the trial for Imani, they asked Iman to like testify against his wife so that he could get a plea deal. And then the wife, she decided to represent herself in court. And then for the most part of it, she did not cross-examine any witness, she did not do anything, like she said nothing. She was just sitting there. She was the one representing herself. She didn't deny anything, she was there. So in 2015, Imani testified against his wife. He pled guilty to the charges. So currently, Imani was sentenced to life imprisonment plus 10 years for second degree felony murder, while the wife, Tiffany, she was sentenced to death. So currently, she's currently at the Arendelle Prison Center, and she's Georgia's only female inmate that is on death row. So she's on death row, waiting for her death. She's waiting for her final this thing. She's just waiting there. So this Imani's case, there were like several avenues. Just in case you're a single parent and your child is complaining, please do give them the benefit of that. Try and listen to them, because this child appears to be like a child that was never wanted. The mom was not there, dad never listened to her. So that's it for me today on the Imani's case. You tell me what to think about Tiffany Moss, Iman Moss, like what should he have done differently, or what was it he didn't do? Do you think that failed her? Do you think the stepmom was just tell me what you think about it? That's it for me today, guys. Just found that.